We're back, baby. It's a charity shot. Bet your free throws because they are free. Joshua Fisher, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Kreider, Nick. We did it last week. AFC North, AFC East, AFC West, AFC South preview.
Southwest, sponsor us.
Wow, Nick, that's the only airline. I mean, you take any sponsor you can get, but that's like the only airline that I would really pine for. Definitely not American Airlines.
No. Not American Airlines, not United. Maybe like United Emirates, because that'd be really cool to get some international flights because they're super expensive. But domestic, Southwest all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we think
bags fly free?
Bags fly free, but they don't have they don't have the TVs though.
Yeah, but everyone's got a smartphone now, and you can stream live TV on your phone or your iPad or your computer.
It's true.
And they have free movies. They don't need TVs.
It's true. You just need to have a laptop like a normal person.
Or a phone or a tablet.
Yeah.
Which everyone has.
I wouldn't mind the TV, but I don't necessarily need it. I've become like a music person on flights. All right, here's the deal. Russell Wilson signs the deal, 5 years, $250 around. Stay in Denver, $165 guaranteed.
Hasn't played a snap for them. It's crazy.
Hasn't played him, but he's played enough snaps. He was injured last year, but he's played enough snaps. He was really good when he did play last year. We have high hopes for Broncos country. Let's ride. Is there a world where all these teams slip into the playoffs?
There definitely is. And I'm kind of sad that we're starting with the West, because the South is going to be really boring to talk about, and I want to finish strong. But
okay, sorry.
But no, it's okay. It's okay. We'll start with the West. I think there is a world where they all finish really strong with over 500 records, but it's going to come down to them all beating each other.
Yeah.
If one team comes out and just has a 6-0 record against the rest of the division, then probably not. Because
there's no way that's happening. You think that could happen? I would be shocked.
Or even a 5-1 record. I think maybe a 4-2 is fine, 3-3. But if one team is dominating, then a team is falling out of this. I believe that the quarterback play is probably the best in all of the NFL. You got Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and of course Derek Carr, who gets another weapon, his old buddy from Fresno State, Devontae Adams.
He's pretty good.
And the defenses. I think the defense has got a lot stronger as well. So it's going to be a bloodbath. This will be the most exciting division to watch in all of football, in my opinion, and probably a lot of people's opinions as well. Just really exciting play. You've got multiple MVP candidates. You've got a ton of star power in terms of wide receivers and defensive playmakers and running backs. This is just going to be the prime time division every single week in football.
Yes. That is a great way to phrase all of that. Can I ask you, I'm putting you on the spot here, and myself too. Is this the best division on paper you've seen in your lifetime? I'm trying to think.
It's so hard to go back and
I know. I'm trying to
because normally like when you think of that question, you think of like what are the best teams that you've seen, best rosters, and like I don't really look at it like in divisional sense. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's definitely been some years where the NFC West has been pretty competitive, more like every single team could have made it in.
Yes, there was times in that division though where the Rams were kind of meh, and they started to pick up, and the Cardinals started to deteriorate. I almost had to deteriorate, but I missed it. The Browns were so bad for so long, but
as of recently, that's what I was going to say. As of recently, the AFC North has been really competitive. All the teams there have been able to elite. I mean, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. Steelers made the playoffs. Baltimore, of course, didn't make it, but they lost their quarterback for over half the season. I think that was a fluke year. We're really high on them this season, and of course, the Browns were good too. So. I wouldn't say it's as star-studded or as powerful as the AFC West is this year, but that's been the division for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think with the Broncos, can Pat Surtain become a true cornerback one? And I obviously think the answer leaning on yes. I'm curious to see how this Raiders defense holds up, because you guys go and get Khalil Mack, who doesn't have to be the best pass rusher on your team. And quite frankly, probably at this stage in his career isn't. right? You would like to think that Joey's the best pass rusher on the team. And that's okay. That's okay.
No, I think that's fine. And I think Khalil is okay with that as well, but they're going to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, because at some point, like an offensive line is going to have to commit to one of those guys and be like, okay, are we going to double team Joey Bosa? Or are we going to double team Khalil Mack? You can't double team everybody.
No, you can't. I mean, the Raiders have that going for them in Vegas, and Crosby and Chandler Jones, who was a very under the radar move. They're bringing him in. I just don't know if they're a defensive backfield like Derwin James, JC when he's healthy, Asante Samuel Jr. Like through and through. You know what I would love from your guys' defense? I would love to see Kenneth Murray take that step this year.
Yeah, he's had injury problems. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he'd be a great guy to solidify that defense and kind of take charge as the linebacker leader.
Mm-hmm.
We did sign Kyle Van Noy, so we got some veteran experience there. I think he's going to be great. I
love Van Noy.
Derwin James coming back healthy. J.C. Jackson's added to the roster. Asante Samuel Jr. gets a second year under his belt. Bryce Callahan, that was a low-key snag.
That was low-key, yeah.
We talked on our Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. We're plugging away this episode.
You're killing the plugs, dude.
We talked with Michael Griffin, former Pro Bowler, 2-time Pro Bowler for the Tennessee Titans and lifelong Longhorn legend. And we were asking him about defensive lines and secondaries and what's more important to the others. And more important to have a strong defensive line to speed up the pressure for the quarterback so it's easier on the secondary, or is it better for the secondary to lock down so the defensive line has more time? And he said it all starts up front, starts in the trenches. So that secondary is going to benefit immensely from a fully healthy front seven. With the additions of Van Noy, Sebastian Joseph Day was added to the roster as well, defensive tackle. Jerry Tillery, coming back for another year. He made some strides last year, and of course Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. So I think the secondary is really going to eat this year.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I mean, and Joseph Day is solid, and Tillery's has the potential, and those guys will benefit from having two really strong edge rushers on this either side of them. I think the Chiefs' defense is being overlooked by all the questions around their wide receiver room, and now those questions, by the way,
I think that always happens. I feel like the offense always outshines the defense in Kansas City.
Yeah, but now,
in the media at least,
I'm curious to see if this Chiefs offense gets a little more methodical. Like the big plays, the big arm, the big splash, like the fact that Tyreek Hill can beat you, over the top and flip the game in 15 seconds, obviously is very scary for an opposing defense. But can they get methodical with the offense? Can they pick you apart a bit more with Kelsey, with the more possession receiver like Juju Smith-Schuster, who I think is going to greatly benefit from being in Kansas City? He goes from Big Ben, who was PFF. PFF's like the WebMD of football. You just believe whatever it says. Pretty have to. PFF had Big Ben the worst QB last year.
Who named him the protector of the realm? I want to know.
Who? The people that trust them. I mean, that's what happens with the protect. You're so in Game of Thrones, my dude. Have you started Mother of Dragons or no?
House of Dragon.
House of Dragons. You know what I'm saying.
I'm on Mother of Dragons right now.
Okay, you're on Game of Thrones right now and House of Dragons.
We've almost finished season 7. We've got one episode left of season 7 in the last season, and then we're on a House of Dragon.
Yep, nothing like a good old disappointing season 8. The PFF guys had Big Ben rated the worst, and obviously Mahomes is one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL, pound for pound. So Juju is going to greatly benefit going over there. If they can get the run game somewhat figured out, I mean, the Edwards-Helaire thing's been kind of a train wreck, considering he was a first-round pick, albeit at the very end of the first round. But if they can get the running game figured out in some capacity, I think the defense benefits from that. And I think they have a very strong and I think they've drafted extremely well on the defensive side of the football. They're a bit young, but nothing wrong with little youth over there. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are being, and to speak for Toss, who's not here today, are being very much overlooked. So what's your ranking in that division? 1 through 4.
It's going to be really hard. I'm going to start with 4.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Raiders are at 4, and all these margins are very tight. I don't think that there's any teams that are going to be just completely trash. I mean, we talked about at the top of the show that we think 4 teams could possibly be playoff teams. So I'm gonna have the Raiders at the bottom there, just purely on outside noise. There was too much going on last year. You know, you have a new coach. Your defense probably is the most suspect out of the 3, and David Carr is the most inferior quarterback out of the 4. I'm not saying he's bad, just he's not Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, or Patrick Mahomes. No. Number 3, I'm going to say the Broncos, because they were the last place team last year, and they're going to have to make some progress from last year. I know they got a new quarterback, but you know, there's
new head coach
as well. 2, I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs. I think, you know, we talked about the receivers, but Tyreek Hill's a really big piece. That's the home run ball that people aren't as scared of anymore. They don't have a guy like Tyreek Hill because there's no one in the NFL like Tyreek Hill. People were trying to strike gold with that all the time in the draft, and it's not happening yet. So defenses have an easier time scheming the Chiefs than they used to. They're still going to be dangerous. They really are. I mean, when you have Patrick Mahomes, you're always going to be a contender. And then Chargers won. They did way too many things this offseason with the defense. And, of course, Justin Herbert gets his 3rd season in the NFL. He's already lit the world on fire, breaking records for a second-year quarterback in yards and touchdowns. And he's considered a MVP favorite. At least he's got great odds, and people are loving that right now. I'm seeing him going as the first quarterback taken in a lot of drafts, him and Josh Allen. So Eckler is also, you know, a top 5 fantasy football pick, and you've got a great wide receiver duo in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Offensive line, got multiple Pro Bowlers there, Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater. And they went out and drafted Zion Johnson. So they've really gotten better at every single position. Usually teams take a step back and like they lose a couple of guys here and there, or like there's holes. There's no holes with this team. The question marks are going to be the coaching scheme, special teams, as it always is with the Chargers, and just if they can stay healthy. They've always had the injury bug. If those 3 things work out in their favor, which sometimes they're a coin flip, then they're going to go very far this year.
We are a SoCal radio show, so let me break it down for you this way. You open up at home, which, you know, we all know is probably an away game still.
Yeah, they
as good as they are, against Vegas. So Vegas
Monday night, right?
No, Sunday. No, Sunday. Sunday. It's like the prime game, Sunday afternoon. Not the Amazon Prime game. Sorry to confuse anybody, but the prime, you know, on CBS, the 125, the Optimus Prime, 125 and PT. So you open up against Vegas, then you go to Kansas City, then you're home against the Ville, at Houston, at Cleveland, easy games, versus Denver, which is nice at home, and then home against Seattle, and then you're on a bye week 8, and then you go back and you go play Atlanta, another easy game, I would like to think. If you beat the Chiefs on Amazon Prime Thursday night, September 15th, there is a very good chance your Chargers could be undefeated going into your bye week. Very good chance. It's a big if. It's in Kansas City. Big if.
It's definitely not the toughest schedule in the NFL this season.
They set you guys up. They set you guys up, which is nice. They want this team to be good for the city's sake. They made the move. They want this team to be good, and I think they like Herbert.
What's not to like? I mean, he's a great guy. He does everything right. He's not super loud and rambunctious. He doesn't make many mistakes on the field. He's a true leader. He's so great in the media. Just a likable guy. I mean, they want him to be the face of the NFL.
100%. Yes. Let's discuss that really quickly, because the AFC South is going to be. They wanted it to be Mahomes. Mahomes' wife and brother ruined that. They legitimately did. There's so much negative energy around them. I think that they ruin.
It's unfortunate. He's a villain without doing anything wrong.
It's crazy.
Just by association.
By being amazing.
Of course, winning always gets you some hate. That's the Tom Brady effect. But Mahomes hasn't been in the league very long. He's won 1 Super Bowl. He's gone to 2. He's won the MVP once. I mean, that's not a ton of hardware to warrant hate. And he has hate. People actually hate him because of his family and because of what they represent.
Yeah, they're annoying as all hell. And look, as good as dominant as Brady was, the face of the NFL, in my opinion, was Peyton Manning when we were growing up in that last era. And they're looking for that new face. It wasn't Rodgers. Rodgers is like
It'll never be Rodgers.
It'll never be Rodgers. Rodgers is like, the cool uncle hitting a dart, drinking a beer in the back. Like, you love him. When he comes over, you're so excited. He's never hosting the family dinners. He's not sitting at the head of the table. And that's okay. He doesn't need that.
He's cracking jokes at his niece that are inappropriate.
For sure. Giving you like the advice you thought you didn't need to know, but probably can use maybe once and was going to really help that one time. You know who's got that vibe, but not as harsh? He's a little more nicer, a little more Herbert side. Burrow. Like, Burrow is just a little too cool for school to be the face of the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's got that bad boy mentality. He's had that ever since he's been at LSU, which I love. Honestly, the NFL is going to benefit greatly for those two teams to be good for a while. To have there be like another quarterback rivalry between Burrow and Herbert. They were in the same draft class. One got to the Super Bowl. One hasn't been there yet. They both haven't won a Super Bowl, but those two guys, in my eyes, are the future Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Like,
and
we're not talking Super Bowls here. But
watch
in terms
Mac
of
Jones.
Competitiveness, I've seen.
I thought it could be Kyle.
Did you see Mac Jones in the preseason throw a ball to nobody?
He's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's going to be really good this year. He'll be good this
manageable.
Year. Thank you. I thought Kyler was going to be that guy. He's just not. He's just not it. He doesn't have that star power, unfortunately. Let me talk the other division.
Yeah, we'll keep this one short.
Yeah, I'll keep this one short. The Colts are going to win this thing, right?
I imagine. They were my team last year, and they choked at the end of the season. It was theirs to take. They choked. They lost to the Jaguars. They just.
They would have been a wild card team, and he would have been a wild card team. And they lost. I mean, Wentz is he's not a real one.
It's hard to say the Titans aren't making it in there because you can't ever really game plan for Derrick Henry, but they're not that much different of a team besides trading away AJ Brown, and they got Robert Woods, and they drafted Treylon Burks. So I would say between the Titans and the Colts, but we'll see what happens. Definitely not the Jaguars, definitely not the Texans. Those two teams are probably going to be picking in the top 5.
Of course.
Jaguars can definitely be taking the first overall pick 3 years in a row.
Which would be the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in sports, by the way. It's so plausible.
It's gonna happen.
Dude, you think the Jaguars are the worst team in the NFL? Dude, like, Zay Jones is like their number 2 receiver. All of a sudden, I was in a fantasy draft last night, dude. My wide receiver 3 is...
And they spent the most money in free agency this year.
On Hill.
Yeah, exactly.
On what?
Not guys who are going to make your team better. You add guys like Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and whoever they brought on defense. I can't remember the names. You bring those guys into teams that are already ready to win. Those are guys that can fill holes and help you just make things happen. They're not the guys that revamp your entire team.
It's not a number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if the Chargers go out and get Christian Kirk, we're like, oh my God, what a snag for a number 3. What a deep threat guy. I mean, you have Josh Palmer, who I really like. Joshua Palmer, sorry. But the number 1 they're running Trevor Lawrence's career into the ground. I like their running back duo they have there. I honestly think the Texans make it back to contention before the Jaguars do. Wholeheartedly, and it's because they have the Browns picks. It's because I don't know if Davis Mills is the guy. They have Cooks there. I mean, they still have something. They have Laramie Tunsil. They have Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Stanley Jr. pick. I thought the Jalen Petrie pick is interesting. I'm not going to delve too into that, but I think that they have we like Davis Mills. I really genuinely think if the Jaguars have the first overall pick again, and we'll close here on the South, I would not be upset or blame Trevor Lawrence for requesting a trade, as he should.
No way. He should for sure, especially in this era of trade requests across all sports. If a guy's unhappy And I'm sure they've made him promises like you're gonna turn this franchise around. We're gonna be a winning team with you.
No way.
He's gone.
Gone.
You're gonna ruin a quarterback. I mean, this guy was like one of the most highly rated prospects of all time coming out of high school and going into the NFL. And they're picking 3 years in a row, number 1 overall.
It's
you got to get out of there.
Outside of
Also,
Andrew
like,
Luck, yeah.
Is there any way Jacksonville's that popping? He's got no ties there.
No. Way to diss the city on the way out. I'm Joshua Fisher. That was Nikki Snacks Carter. We're the charity stripe. We do not like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fans out there, drag both feet in bounds. So we're going to full count, rip that puck, get that putt. Hit your PKs because they free and your free throws. Why, Nick?
Because they free.
Because they're free. Oh, thank you, man. We out you. We love you.